Oh dear. Oh no. I knocked my tripod. It's balancing on a couple of yoga blocks, so it's in quite a precarious position. We're all just doing our best, aren't we? Right, I think that's good. Okay, so, hello. Happy Wednesday. I had to think about the day then. I hope you're having a lovely, lovely week. And welcome back to another Facebook Live yoga class. So, yeah, I've got some exciting stuff planned today. So I thought we could have a look at a couple of really complicated postures to make a change, another complicated posture. But they're really fun. So I thought we'd have a look at a posture called Bird of Paradise. And if you actually do my live classes over on my Facebook page, you may have already had a look at this, but we could all do with practicing it a little bit more. But I haven't done it in this group yet. So we're going to have a look at a posture called Bird of Paradise. We're also going to see if we, hopefully with my time management, we can have a look at the reverse Bird of Paradise as well, which in my opinion, might be different for you, but in my opinion is like 1,000,000 times harder. So we're going to have a look at Bird of Paradise, reverse Bird of Paradise, which I haven't done yet during these sort of lockdown yoga classes. And they're both advanced balances, so they involve us standing on one leg, much like a Bird of Paradise. I think that's where it got its name from. They're also big hip openers, so we're going to be doing a lot of work into the hips today. Bird of Paradise and the reverse one actually involve us to have super flexible hamstrings. So a lot of hip work, a lot of hamstring work. They're also very complex binds, which a bind in yoga is when we wrap our arms around and see if we can take hold of our fingers or our hands, and we get in lots of pretzel-like shapes. And the reverse Bird of Paradise is a very sort of deep twist. So we're going to be working a couple of twists today. We've got a lot to get through today. I'm just going to move my tripod just a little bit. So I hope you're ready. I hope you're ready for some fun. And what I really want to stress during this class is part of the beauty of balances especially is hopping around. There's probably going to be, until you figure out these postures, a lot of hopping around, a lot of stumbling, a lot of jumping, swearing, falling over. It's all part of the process. So sometimes these sort of tricky balances can feel a little bit messy, but that mess is absolutely fine. It's just the body trying to figure out what's going on, and there's a lot going on. So we're going to start. You may need a strap just for the first posture if your hips are super tight. Maybe not, but you might want to keep a strap, resistance band, dressing gown cord or belt handy just in case. If you have an injury that you're really worried about, just make sure you check with your doctor before doing any sort of exercise movement class. But besides that, not much else to say. We're going to start warming the body up gently and gradually work our way up to some more difficult postures. So if you want to come on your back, I'm going to pull my curtains a little bit more. You should see my soundproofing behind here. I live on a main road. I've got pillows. We actually, I'll show you. We actually pinned a duvet against the window to block out some of the traffic noise. So we're a real studio up in here. No amateur business. So start on your back. So we're going to lie down. Like I said, we're going to start gently. We've got quite a few things to do today. So it's going to be really helpful today if you can bring the soles of the feet together and let the knees fall out sideways. So this posture, reclined, bound, angle, fabulous way to work into the hips, the groin. Really good way to open it up across the pelvis as well. We're not forcing the knees to the floor. The knees are just falling as far as they want to fall. You can rest the hands on the inner thighs, the belly, or just place them either side of the body, palms up. Just find a comfortable position for the arms. And if for whatever reason this isn't comfortable, feel free to bend the knees, feel free to straighten the legs down the mat. Always starting like this, whether from lying, standing, sitting, we always take just a couple of minutes to really see if we can bring the attention into the room. So instead of focusing on what's going on around us, and there's so much going on, seeing if we can turn that focus to the breath. Tune into the body, the sensations in the body. Just for this 1 hour, focusing on what's happening on the mat. And with balances, this focus is really important. It's always important, but especially with balances. Balances are difficult, but one of the reasons I love them so much is that it is really difficult to think about anything else. If there is any kind of posture that brings you into the present moment, it's a balance for sure. As soon as you take the attention away from what's going on, you fall out of it. It forces you to be really conscious of what's happening in the body. Okay, and then just take your attention to your breath. We'll start to slow it down as always. Inhales and exhales equal in length. Breathing through the nose if possible, unless, like me, you have really hideous hay fever, in which case you can breathe through the mouth. Well, I like to moan a little bit as well. Hay fever season, that pollen count. Alright, so steady rhythm, but one that's sustainable for you. Always making sure that we can breathe comfortably in all of the postures we're in. And then just quickly taking your attention around the body and noticing if there's any areas that feel especially tight, injuries you need to be mindful of. Never pushing past pain, always respecting the body, and especially with the hip openers we're going to do today, you cannot force your hips to open unless you really want to hurt yourself. So you have to be quite patient with them, trying not to get too frustrated. Alright, lovely, and then we're going to begin. So, open your eyes if your eyes are shut. If your knees are apart, let's gently draw those knees together, and we are going to take a cat stretch. Best posture. Point the toes down the mat, arms overhead, lengthen. So, you know, we're having some lie-ins in lockdowns at the moment, so this might be the longest sort of stretch you've had all day. So really point those toes and lift those arms and feel that stretch, top of the legs, lower back, shoulders. And then as you exhale, hug your knees into the chest, rock from side to side and make some circles. Keep the back of the head on the floor, hands around the knees or the shins to make the rotation, rocking out any tension in the lower back especially, drawing the thighs in towards the tummy as you roll. And then we'll bring both feet to the mat. So we're going to start with a very sort of passive hip opener. Love it. One of the best postures, top 5 for me. So we're going to keep the left foot on the floor, left knee bent. We're just going to cross the right foot over the left thigh. This is a hip opener, so if you're sort of on your edge here, working that right leg back, feeling that sensation in the top of the right leg, you can stay here. But if possible, let's pick the left foot up off the floor, hands around the back of the left thigh. Okay, so this isn't necessarily a yoga posture. It is a yoga posture, but it's quite a common stretch. We find it in quite a lot of different activities. Really great way to stretch into that right glute and open up into the right hip. A couple of things to just be conscious of. Let's keep the feet active, so keep the toes gently pulling back. Want the base of the spine to stay down, so if you pick the base of the spine up, you lose the isolated stretch right glute, right hip. And then let's keep that upper body relaxed, so shoulders roll down towards the mat, chest is broad, and if you feel like very tense in the chest, if you feel like you're pulling the back of the head off the floor, the shoulders are coming forward, if it's all very uncomfortable, this is where you would use a strap around the back of the left thigh instead of the hands. And then just breathe. Okay, this is why I run out of time, is because I micromanage postures. At the end of the day, just make sure nothing is pulling into your right knee. Every exhale, gently drawing the left thigh back. Keeping the neck long, so chin tucks in ever so slightly towards chest. So even in these lying postures, finding that length through the spine. And you do have an option to deepen this posture if you choose, as long as that right knee's okay. You can draw the right knee down the mat. You can even press the right elbow against the inner right thigh to help you if you're making contact there, as you ease the left thigh back. Just an option, you don't have to do it. We're just going to hold it here for a few more moments. Very good, this posture. For some reason lately I've kind of been losing myself in these postures. I kind of end up checking out in them. Don't do that. So we're trying to check in. So this is a lesson for all of us. Right, we are going to bring it into a twist now. So let's bring that left foot down to the floor. Keep the right leg where it is. We're going to take the arms out wide, palms down. So we're taking the arms in a T position. Then from here, let's scooch the right knee on top of the left. So now the right knee is glued on top of the left. We'll move the bum over towards the right a few inches to give us a bit more room. Big inhale here, then as you exhale, let the knees fall over towards the left. Good, and then gently turn your head and look over that right shoulder. So the knees are stacked, right knees on top of the left knee. We've let the legs fall over towards the left. Arms wide, T position, and then gently turn over that right shoulder. And just make sure you keep the right shoulder down in this. So it's a passive twist. A little bit of effort to keep the legs together, but nothing too strong. Then feeling that stretch in the lower back, right glute. May feel it a couple of other places as well. Just keep the breath steady. We're not forcing the legs to the floor. And then inhale back up to center. Lovely, uncross your legs, square your hips up, give your legs a shake, and then we're going to do exactly the same thing the other side. So right knee bent, right foot on the floor. We'll cross the left foot over the right knee. This may be enough for you. You can stay here. Still quite a nice hip opener, drawing the left knee down the mat, feeling that sensation top of the left leg. Otherwise, just pick your right foot up off the floor, hands or strap around the back of the right thigh. Then same thing, toes active, shoulders draw back, chest broad, and breath steady. Keeping the base of the spine down. Maybe drawing left knee down the mat, maybe pressing left elbow in a left thigh. And just noticing that big stretch in the left glute, opening up into the left hip. For me, this side is a lot tighter. It might be different for you, but usually we do have one side that is tighter, stronger. And it's going to be quite important when we come to this balance later, because there can be a marked difference between the right and left sides. So figuring out now which hip may cause you a few problems, which hamstring might make the posture a bit more challenging. Doing a good job. Constant but gentle pressure to ease the right leg back. Base of the spine down. Okay, lovely. And then we're just going to release that right foot to the floor. We're going to bring it into that twist again. So let's scooch the left knee on top of the right. We'll take our arms wide, palms down. We'll move our bum over towards the left a little. Big inhale, then as you exhale, very lazily let the legs fall over towards the right. And then gently turn your head, look over the left shoulder. Just keep that left shoulder down. That's where the stretch starts from. Lower back, left glute, left hip. Heavy legs, but no effort to force them to the floor. And then inhale back up to center. Uncross your legs. We'll take another cat stretch. So square your hips up, feet down the mat, point the toes, arms overhead. Making yourself as long as you possibly can. Again, just feeling that stretch in the lower back and shoulders especially today. And then exhale, hugging the knees into the chest again, rocking from side to side. Waking the body up very gently. And then we'll take both feet to the floor. So last lion posture, we're going to come in. This bird of paradise posture is a big old hamstring stretch, but the hamstring part of the posture, you'll see later, is kind of like the cherry on top of the posture. It's the very last thing we work with. But we're going to do a hamstring stretch now. We're also going to sort of start to strengthen into the legs in this little sequence. Important for our balance, and then we're going to come up into all fours. So you may need the strap again if you know your hamstrings are tight. We're going to leave the left foot on the floor, left knee bent. Just take the back of your right thigh very simply as you inhale, extend your right leg up towards the ceiling. I say simply, it's like a simple movement, but sometimes can be a little bit tricky. Okay, so left foot's just resting on the floor. Again, we want the upper body to be relaxed. So if you feel like the shoulders are hunching, if you feel the back of the head lifting, use a strap or something instead. I say strap around the back of the thigh, but if it is more comfortable, place it around the foot. Up to you. And then trying to get that right leg as straight as possible, even if that means lowering the leg slightly. So more important, that leg is straight, especially seeing as we're trying to strengthen it for this balance, than it is dead vertical. Then really working the right toes back, feeling the stretch in the calf. My calves, don't know what's up with them. There's some tightness there for sure today. But stretching the calves, the hamstrings, every exhale, if appropriate, bringing the right toes a little bit higher up towards the face. A little bit of leg shakes, okay? A lot of leg shakes, okay? So just sort of working with it. It is quite early. I didn't forget how early it is. I mean, 10:30 is probably not early for people who have things to do. For those of us who don't, 10:30 might be quite early, so this could feel a bit more tricky than usual if you're doing it earlier on. Alright, and then to bring the groin in it, on your next inhale, let's extend the left leg down the mat. And now work both toes back, see if you can get both legs straight and strong. And then, if possible, ground down through the left calf as well. So if the groin's a bit tight, the left calf will probably want to pick up, but see if you can root it down. Nice, slow, steady breaths through the nose if possible. And you are more than welcome, if the right hamstring feels up to it, to take hold of the calf, maybe the foot, but as long as the shoulders stay down, so you don't want to grab hold of the foot if everything gets a little bit weird up in the upper body. So just work with your body. Keeping that sort of, what word am I looking for? Roominess? Expansiveness in the body. Yeah, so we don't want things to feel like tight and crunched up, crunched up. Okay, lovely. And then we've got to get these legs strong, so I'm afraid you're going to have a look at your right foot. You're going to have to talk to your right leg. You're going to keep the right foot where it is. In a minute, it's going to want to drop down to the floor. Going to start to strengthen the hip flexor quad, release the hands or strap, hands either side of the body, keep that leg where it is. So it doesn't take long for the top of the right leg to start heating up, drawing the right toes back even further if possible, and we'll hold it for 5 deep breaths, 4, both legs really strong here, 3, working the toes back, 2, and 1, keep the right leg where it is. You have the option now of inhale, lifting the left leg a few inches off the floor so it's hovering, starting to feel that work in the core as well. Engage both quads, get those legs as straight as possible for 5, 4, see if you can bring the right toes back a little bit more, 3, 2, and 1, lovely. Last step if you choose, as you inhale, nose to knee, hands parallel, arms off the floor, palms facing one another, and then see if you can work that right foot back a little bit more for 5, 4 deep breaths, 3, 2, and 1, release. Lovely. Give the legs a shake. Alright, we're quickly just going to do the same thing the other side. So right leg bent, right foot on the floor, take the back of the left thigh. Inhale, extend left leg up. Really work left toes back, shoulders draw back, breath steady. And then right foot just resting, seeing if we can get that left leg as strong and as straight as possible. And then as you inhale, right leg extends down the mat, bringing the groin into it. And seeing if you can really work down through the right calf, just being conscious that one leg may be very different to the other. Chin tucks in towards chest. Big stretch back of the left leg, groin. And you have the option of moving the hands up the leg if you choose. If you're feeling a little bit extra today, you can do that as long as the shoulders can stay rolling down rather than hunching up. This is my problem legs, my problem hamstring, so I'm going to stay where I'm at. And then have a little look at your left leg. We're going to keep it where it is. We're not going to let it fall to the floor, and move the hands, place the hands either side of the body. And then just quickly, very quickly waking up the hip flex of the quad. Get legs strong and straight, squeezing the quads just a little bit for 5, 4, 3, doing well, deep breaths, 2, and 1, okay? If you choose, we're going to hover the right leg off the floor, bringing that belly into it, so the lower belly should feel like it's working now. Deep breath, see if you can pull the left foot back a little bit more, don't let it travel to the floor for 5, 4, 3, I love this, 2 is one of my favourites, and 1, alright, so as you inhale, nose to knee, hands parallel, palms face one another, and then see if you can work toes back a little bit more, deep breaths, 5, this one less, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Relax, release, relax, relax, release. Lovely. Cat stretch. So we're just contracting the muscles, tops of the legs now, working them back out with a nice long stretch, pointing the toes, arms overhead. And then last time, exhale, hug your knees into your chest, rock from side to side, make some circles, just rock out the lower back. Okay, and then as you inhale, just pop yourselves up into all fours. All right, so make yourself into an all four position, get into all fours, lovely, doing really well. And we're just gonna start to work a twist here. So we're going to be doing some deeper twists later, but this is a very, very good sort of beginner's twist, and it's also a hip opener. So from an all four position, we're going to step the right foot to the outside of the right hand. Quite important to keep the left knee underneath that left hip. There is a posture, and I'm sure we've done it in these classes before, where you take the left knee much further back, but today left knee is going to stay underneath that hip, right knee is going to stay somewhere over the ankle, and then also quite important not to let the right leg fall out. Again, that's a different posture. So for today we're going to just keep that right knee gently drawing in towards the middle of the mat. It's not crossing over, but it's going to basically stay over that knee. Then from here, as you inhale, we're going to look forward, lengthen the spine, and then as you exhale, turn in the waist, raise the right hand, look up. So we're coming into an all four twist. Sometimes what happens in this is the twist, the hips veer off to the side. So we're trying to keep the hips facing forward. Every inhale, the spine lengthens forward. Every exhale, we move into the twist. The chest opens up towards the right, making sure you can see your right hand, so don't fling that right shoulder back, don't want to like hyperextend in that shoulder, and then reaching the right fingertips up. So the left wrist eventually is quite light on the floor, not bearing down too heavy in that wrist. So a lovely twist, opening up across the chest, also feeling that stretch in the top of the right leg, the hip. A few more moments here, maybe see if you can reach up a little bit more. And then exhale, lower that hand down. Great. So keep the legs where they are. Keep the right knee over the right ankle. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to lift the other hand. It's going to be crazy how different this posture is now. So as you inhale, look forward. And then exhale, turn in the waist, raise the left hand, look up. And I bet, maybe not, but this is a lot harder this side. You're going to feel that stretch now come into the right groin, inner right thigh. Also quite tricky, a lot trickier to keep the balance, so it could feel a little bit more wobbly, and harder to get the same kind of rotation, especially if the right groin is tight. But just do your best, still doing the same thing, so still reaching left fingertips up, so keeping right wrist quite light on the floor, bit more of a tendency for the hips to twist in this. So to check, you can actually take the top hand to the lower back. Just make sure the hips are still facing forward. Few more moments. And then exhale, lower that hand. And now we're going to step back into all fours. You can give your hips a little wiggle if you want, and then we're going to change sides. So from an all four position, left foot to the outside of the left hand, keeping the right knee underneath that hip, keeping the left knee somewhere over that ankle, and then the left leg's going to stay drawing in towards the midline, not falling out to the side. Inhale, look forward, and then exhale, turning the waist, left hand comes up to begin with. So slightly, I want to say slightly easier. I think most people find this side slightly easier, so feeling the stretch come into the top of the left leg. Really reaching left hand up, so right hand light on the floor. Opening across the chest, got this lovely twist here, opening the chest up towards the left. Breath steady, making sure you can see that top hand. And then exhale, bring that left hand down. All right, now we're coming on to the other side. So as you inhale, stretch the spine forward. And then exhale, turning the waist, right hand comes up. Feeling that stretch now transfer to the inner left thigh, left groin. Reaching the right hand up. Opening the chest up towards the right and keeping the hips facing forward. Few more moments here. Lovely, and then as you exhale, bring that hand down. Fantastic, step back into all fours, and then we're going to come into child's pose. We're going to take a wide version. So feet together, knees as wide as the mat. Sink your bum towards your heels, get your bum and your heels as close together as possible. Before laying the body down, you can come forehead, chin and chest, as long as it doesn't crunch into the back of the neck. Or you can stay upright. It's more important to try and get the bum and the heels as close together as possible. That's what creates the stretch in the lower back. Letting the body be really heavy, just taking a few deep breaths. And then from this child's pose, we're going to bring a little shoulder opener into it. So keep the feet together, keep the knees as wide as the mat. Keep the bum sinking down towards the heels. And then what we're going to do is we're going to thread the right arm underneath the left arm. We're going to lay the right shoulder down on the floor, right cheek on the floor, and we're going to look left. So the weight of the body is now coming down into that right shoulder. And if your shoulders feel tight, this can sometimes feel a little bit intense. But just do your best here. Maybe crawling left fingertips forward. Drawing the left armpit down towards the mat for a deeper stretch. You may also feel this across your upper back. A few more moments here. Okay, and then just untangle, and then we'll do the exact same thing the other side. So legs are in the same position now. We're threading the left arm underneath the right. Laying the left shoulder down on the floor. Crawling right fingertips forward, maybe right armpit down towards the mat. Okay, and then just untangle, take both arms forward, just come back into your wide child's pose for a second. Okay, and then as you inhale, just pop yourselves back up into all fours. All right, so we're opening the hips up a little bit. We're going to open them up some more now. We're going to come into downward dog, and then we're going to work with some little squats. And then I think we're nearly ready to have a go at the first balance. So from downward dog, fingers spread underneath the shoulders, making sure there's no gaps underneath your fingers. So pressing the palms and the fingers down into the floor so we can share the weight. Feet hip width apart and parallel, tuck your toes, send your hips up and back, and then come into downward dog. Okay, so knees can be bent, heels do not have to be on the floor. We're just trying to create a 90-degree angle with the body. So more important that there's a straight line up the arms, up the back, shooting out the back of the hips than it is to have the legs dead straight. Just keep the head heavy so the head sinks back between the arms. And we've already done some work into the hamstrings, but if you want to pedal one foot out and then the other, be my guest, you can do that. Just make the pedaling slow, controlled. And if you don't want to pedal, just see if you can push the thighs to the back of the room, maybe tilt the hips up towards the ceiling. So while there's a lot going on in downward dog, it's a shoulder strengthener as well as like a hamstring posture. But one thing that people forget is it's also an inversion, which is we're upside down, and it's also very good for the lower back. So a few more moments here, breath steady. And then as you inhale, from here, we are going to step or jump our feet to the outside of our hands, and we're going to sink the bum down, and we're going to come down into a little squat. So again, this is a posture that I like to do a lot. It's very good for our backs, our ankles, our knees, our hips, our groin. So you've got the feet to the outside of the hands, you've lowered the bum down, and then just a couple of things. If the hips are a little bit tight today, you're going to want to lift the heels up off the floor. The heels do not have to be down. You can take the hands to the floor for balance. Otherwise, sink the hips down, take your hands into prayer, and then hold it here. So yeah, sometimes people wonder if they have to have the heels down, but you honestly don't. The only issue with coming up on the balls of the feet is it might be a bit wonky, in which case, like I said, hands down is absolutely fine. But if you have got the hands in prayer, let's press the knees into the arms into the knees, and open up across that pelvis. Taking a few deep breaths, doing really well. Quite a tricky posture. We're also trying to get away from rolling the shoulders forward, so rolling the shoulders back, extending up through the spine, like imagining there's a piece of string coming out the crown of the head, lifting us up. A few more moments here. Okay, and then as you inhale, we're going to pop up to standing, using the strength in the legs, fab, and then just step to the front of the mat. All right. So we're just going to come through a sun salutation into a couple of more squats. We really need these hips to be awake. So legs together, lift the shoulders, allow them to fall back, head slightly tilted forward. Just take a couple of deep breaths. If you've not done a sun salutation before, don't worry. You pick it up after the first few, you start to pick it up a bit. Okay, so as you inhale, swoop the arms up, look up. And then exhale, fold, hands to floor, drop the head, bend the knees as much as you need to. Then inhale, look forward, lengthen the spine. And exhale, step or jump back to plank, your choice. Lower to low press up on the floor. You inhale, pull through a back bend. And then exhale, downward dog. Okay, just holding the downward dogs for a couple of breaths again, making sure there's no gaps underneath the hands. Head's heavy, breath steady. And then as you inhale, here we go, step or jump the feet to the outside of the hands, and then sink your bum down. You're coming back down into a little squat. I love squats. So, I'll tell you a story. I don't think I should tell you this. I tend to talk a lot in squats, which is not everyone's favourite. So feet turn out about 45 degrees, hands in prayer again. If these kill you, you can come out of them at any time. But otherwise, we're going to bring a little twist into this now. So this is quite an intuitive movement. The only thing that's quite important is we'll drop the left hand first. We're going to drop the left hand to the floor. Again, just sort of placing it wherever you want. Fingertips all palm down. Just make sure the left shoulder is in front of the leg, because we're actually going to use that resistance to help us twist. So there's resistance between the left arm and the front of the left knee. Then as you inhale, press that arm into the leg as you raise the right arm, look up. Again, it can be quite like an intuitive movement, just up towards the ceiling. You can even take it back a little bit here, really seeing if we can twist the chest open towards the ceiling as well. A few more breaths. All right, and then exhale, lower that right hand down. Keep the right arm in front of the right knee. Press the knee into the arm as you inhale, left arm up. Opening the chest up. You know, it feels really quite nice in the back if you can sort of take the attention away from the pain in the hips. Doing really well. All right, and then exhale, bring that hand down. Take your hands back to prayer. Then inhale, push up to standing. And then exhale, step to the front of your mat. Give your legs a little shake, all right? Moving through a sun salutation into our last little squat. So feet together, knees together. Lift the shoulders, allow them to fall back, head slightly tilted forward. Just take a couple of deep breaths. And then as you inhale, swooping the arm up, looking up. Exhale, fold, hands to floor, drop the head. Inhale, look forward, lengthen. And then exhale, step or jump back to plank. Lower to low press up or the floor. Inhale, a back bend, shoulders back. Exhale, downward dog. Hold your downward dogs just for a second. And then last time as you inhale, step or jump your feet to the outside of your hands again. I'm sorry in advance. Sink your bum down and come into squat. All right, okay, last one, last squat. So this time we're gonna see if we can bring a little bind into it. So this time, instead of sitting up nice and tall, letting the shoulders roll back, let's see if we can fold down a little bit. So the shoulders now roll forward. And then we're gonna see if we can get the right arm to begin with in front of that right leg, roll the right shoulder forward so we can wrap the arm around the right shin. Then just like before, as you inhale, left arm comes up, exhale, wrap it round. You're gonna see if you can take your fingertips or your hands. So this is a bind right here. We're wrapping the right arm around the shin, we've reached the left hand back, we're taking the wrists or the fingers, or the hands, and then use that grip to roll the left shoulder back, hip sink down, hold it here, a few more moments. And then release, lovely, hands to prayer. Last time, you're doing well, you're doing great. So left shoulder in front of the left knee, we're nearly there. Roll the left shoulder forward, wrap the left arm around the shin. Inhale, right arm up, wrap it round, take hold of the bind. If you don't have the bind, don't worry. If you do, see if you can use it to roll that right shoulder back, chest lifts, few more breaths here. Everyone's hips are probably screaming, mine included. And then release, 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 lovely. Hands in prayer, inhale up, last time up, up, up. Woo! Then give your legs a shake. All right, have a drink. This is a good point for a drink. Hips are good, like hips are good. Squats are just great. Like I feel like maybe we're meant to sort of sit like that more, you know? Like we're meant to be able to squat down. Like you see these old toilets and stuff, I swear that's how people used to go to the toilet. And in a lot of places, people do sort of sit like that more, including like India and places like that. But I think it's a good thing for our hips, you know? I just think it's good. I'm not gonna go into it. I think they're great. I think being barefoot and doing squats are very good. Well, shut up, Ashley. Right, okay, so we're ready to give this first balance a go. What I might do is I think we might do a warm-up first. Yeah, I think we're going to do a warm-up first. So if we want to, we'll do this together and then I can show you the posture afterwards. So very quickly, legs together, a warm-up as if we haven't done a warm-up. All right, so with your feet together at the front of your mat, legs together, we're going to take a big step out with our right foot. Okay, we're going to turn the left foot in, 90 degrees, 45 degrees, either way the toes come in, not out. The left foot, the right foot, here we go, the right foot, your left foot is in, your right foot is out 90 degrees, okay? I don't want to confuse anyone. Then we're going to bend the right knee, so it's somewhere over the ankle, the right thigh comes parallel. So this is the leg position. Hips are going to stay relatively square to the long side of the mat. Take your arms wide, inhale here, exhale, reach to the right. See if you can place your right hand on the inside of the right foot. Then raise your left hand, look up. Okay, so first things first, if you cannot get your right hand to the inside of the right foot, Bring your right forearm to your right thigh and extend your left arm up. Just make sure you're not collapsing into that shoulder, so keep the right shoulder strong. Or you can place a block or a book or something underneath the right hand. Either way, you should be feeling this opening in the right hip, so sinking deep into that right hip. A few more breaths here. Okay, and then inhale, push up and change sides. Right foot in, left foot out. Bend the left knee so it's over the ankle, thereabouts. Arms wide, inhale. Exhale, reach to the left, hand to the inside of the left foot, right arm up. If you're struggling to get the hand down to the foot, forearm to thigh, just keep that shoulder lifted, A few more moments, feeling that really deep opening left thigh. And then inhale up, beautiful. Then step your feet together. Okay, so here we go. Right, so have a little look at me. I'm going to demonstrate and then we're going to see if we can do it together. There's a couple of things that are quite important. So basically we come through the same posture. We end up in the same posture. Now you can have a go at the bind if you've got the forearm to the thigh, that's not a problem, but it might be a bit more challenging. So if you are forearm to thigh, maybe for today stay there. You can give it a go, but probably might struggle just a little bit. If the hand is to the inside of the foot, what we need to do is, you know what's going to come, we're going to bind. So it involves us having to, this is why it's so hard if you have the forearm to the thigh, because you need to sink into that right hip low enough to wrap the right shoulder, right arm, underneath the right leg. So if you can see my arm, I've wrapped it underneath the right leg. Left arm up, you wrap it round. I'm taking hold of my hands underneath the leg, all right? So I've got the bind behind my back. This bit's very important. Before you do this next step, you need to look down. If you don't, you'll fall over. So you've got to look down and then give it some welly as you step your left foot, in this case the back foot, forward near the hand. Doesn't have to come by the hand, but you need to step forward with that foot. You know what's coming. You look down, so the strength in the legs we were working with earlier, those hamstring stretches, quads, hip flexors, legs strong. And then we're up. I've got the bind, I'm up. Now, like I said earlier, the hamstring part of this is the cherry on top. So if you're here, just work here, feel that strength in the legs, keep looking at something. Your drishti, your point of concentration, you need to stare at it. If you're here, you can see if you can straighten the right leg, okay? You gently turn, you look over the left shoulder, and you hold it, and then we're gonna give the other side a go. Ooh, it's hard to talk and do that, let's do this. So come to the front of your mat, and then as you inhale, we're going to take a step out with the right foot, we're going to turn the left foot in, we're going to turn the right foot out 90 degrees. Bend the right knee so it's over the ankle, arms wide, inhale here, reach, exhale, place the right hand to the inside of the right foot, left arm comes up. Okay, so if your forearm to thigh, maybe stay there for today. You can give it a go, but wherever you are on this journey is perfect, okay? So don't rush it. It's a work in progress. But if you're down, if your hand's on the inside of the foot, see if you can sink a bit lower. Maybe wrap that arm underneath the right leg. Inhale, left arm up. Exhale, wrap it around. Take hold of the bind. So you even may want to stay here today. It's a hard bind. Hard for the hip. If you've got the bind, use it to work right shoulder open. Look up. Now if you are going to go for this full balance today, you need to look down. And then see if you can step the left foot forward by the right foot, way into the left leg before you very slowly pop yourself up. Okay, we here? Good. And then if you're up, you can straighten that right leg. You turn and look over the left shoulder. Look, wherever you are on this journey is perfect. It's a fun posture to try, why not? Hold it, breathe, hop around, fall over, and then release. Okay, perfect. So, again, like I'm not giving you much time in these postures as I would in a normal class. So that's the technique. Keep trying it, keep having fun, and we'll see if we can do the same thing the other side. So legs wide, turn your left foot out, turn your right foot in. Bend the left knee so it's over that ankle. You've got to sink quite deep down into the hips here, arms wide. Inhale here, exhale, reach, left hand to the inside of the foot. Right arm up. If you're staying forearm to 5, perfect, just stay there. Now if you're sinking low enough, you may be able to wrap the left shoulder underneath the leg. Inhale, right arm up again, wrap it round, take the bind. If you have the bind, if you're staying here, you can just work that right shoulder back, look up. Do you want to give the posture a go? You need to look down. And then you hop the right foot forward, transfer the weight into the right leg, you've still got the bind. You're not doing what I'm doing. Make whatever noises you want, gently come up to standing. And then maybe, the sort of like the last thing we work on really is straightening that left leg. Turning and looking over the right shoulder and holding it wherever you're holding it. I'm just assuming you're still, I'm gonna have a drink, you keep playing around with it. And then stop. Okay, lovely. So that's bird of paradise. Obviously we keep open, I'm knackered, hamstring stretch, a bind, shoulder opener, you've got a lot going on. So just make your way to the floor. Now, usually I would have that as like an hour class, but I did want to give the reverse a go. I think the reverse is way harder. It involves a really weird movement with the arms. So the first thing we're going to do is just a little prep, okay? Which involves, if you just look at me quick, it's going to involve a twist. We're going to hold this twist, and then it involves us hooking the shoulder over the leg, taking the hands into prayer. So this is what we're going to end up in, all right? Sometimes it gets a bit confusing. So we're going to do a little prep, and then we're going to give the full posture a go. So from all fours, step your right foot forward and come up to kneeling. So we have the left knee underneath that hip, the right knee somewhere over that ankle, and the hip stays square. Make sure there's a proper gap between the foot and the knee, otherwise you get really wonky. If you take the foot right sort of like by the knee, it's going to get a bit weird. Take your right hand to the small of the back, take the left hand above the right knee. You inhale, lift, you exhale, twist, you're opening the chest up towards the right. Using the left hand on the leg as a lever to help you rotate. Rolling the right shoulder back, looking back. So keep the breath steady. And this is the most important stage of this posture. You need to get as much twist here as possible. So never rush in these stages. A few more moments. And then from here, if you choose, we're going to see if we can fold forward, hooking the left shoulder over the right knee. You can do some wiggling if you want here. I often do. So if possible, left shoulder comes over the right knee. We've still got the hips facing forward. We take the hands into prayer. Elbows are stacked. Look up. And then you need to press the left shoulder into the right knee to help open the chest up to the right. Ooh, this is a deep twist, okay? Okay, a few more moments. And then release, lovely. Hands to floor, step back into all fours. Maybe give your hips a shake. And then we'll do the same thing the other side. So, from all fours, stepping the left foot between the hands, coming up to kneeling. Setting the posture up. Right knee underneath hip, left knee over that ankle. Left hand to the small of the back, and then right hand just above the left knee, palms away or grabbing the knee, doesn't really matter. It's just going to act as a lever to help us twist. You inhale, lift, you exhale, twist around, opening the chest to the left this time. And remembering that you can stay here, and this is the most important part of this posture, getting as much rotation here as possible. And then staying here or folding forward, seeing if you can hook the right shoulder over the left knee, hands in prayer. Now make sure the elbows are stacked. The elbows are on top of one another. Check your hips. So check your hips are facing forward. There's a real tendency for the hips to swing out to the side in this. And then work the shoulder against the knee, opening the chest up. It's 10 points to whoever can guess where the bind is here. You know. All right, and then release hands to floor, lovely. Just step back, have a drink, have a rest, give your hips a shake. Do what you need to do. Okay, and then we're ready. So come up to seated. Right, so the bind in this is very difficult. It's a very tricky bind. It may be today that you're just working on the bind. So the bind is this. It's a very weird movement. From this prayer position, we need to get this arm underneath the leg, which involves the shoulder rolling forward. See this movement here, it's very strange. Shoulder moving forward, the arm bending under. It's a very weird bind, up, back. So I'll just show you what that looks like from this side, if you can see. I've got too much hair, too much hair in the way, now I can see what I'm doing. So the bind is, the shoulder moves forward, you wrap around, you see that? It's a weird one. You catch the bind. Now if you have the bind, you may be able to work on the next step. If you don't have the bind, just work the twist, okay? This is really important to work. You've got to get the shoulder over the leg to get the arm under. So it's more important to work the twist rather than like keep frustratingly trying to get the bind. Now if you have the bind, you may want to just stay and work the bind. Otherwise you look down and you have to straighten the back leg and the heel drops in. All right, so this is a posture you can stay at. You can straighten the leg or you look down, same thing, you've got to step forward. You've got to come up. And the last step is to straighten the leg. And look, it's just, I think it's slightly more challenging if possible. We're gonna give it a go. I'm dead. I think talking and doing these binds sometimes, just need to definitely not invincible. Let's give it a go, shall we? Right, all fours. This is a really tricky posture, so we'll see what happens. We'll step the left foot forward and we'll come up to kneeling just like before, remembering the action points, remembering the feet positioning, right hand to small of the back, left hand above the right knee. You inhale, lift, you exhale, twist. So this is the most important part of the posture. If you are not getting the twist here, you're not going to be able to hook the shoulder over the leg. You're not going to be able to catch the bind. So get as much twist here. I'll move through it relatively quickly today, but feel free to slow it down. And then exhale, fold. Hooking left shoulder over right knee. Getting as much of that shoulder over the knee as possible. Hands to prayer. Elbows stacked, you look up. Now if the shoulder keeps pinging off the knee, stay here, just work the twist, okay? There's no point in trying for the bind if the shoulder's coming off the knee, because we need the shoulder to be from far forward, so just work this, it's perfect. Now if you're going to give the bind a go, very weird bind. You need to get the left arm, roll the left shoulder forwards, the elbow goes down and under, right arm comes up, you catch the bind. If you have the bind, work the bind, shoulder opens, look up. Now, staying here is fine, otherwise look down. See if you can straighten the left leg and then let the heel drop in. So bend the right knee, sinking down into that right hip, left heel's in, left foot is down, work the bind, shoulder back, look up. Staying here, or looking down, hopping the left foot forward, maybe coming up to standing. maybe straightening right leg, looking back over that right shoulder. Ooh, I'm gonna let you just play around with that for a little bit. Okay, doing a good job. I'm gonna give you a minute before we move on to the other side. By that I mean I'm gonna give myself a minute. Alright. Okay, so coming out of whatever you got. Tricky, 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 tricky. Let's try the other side. All fours, last time, last side, and then we're done. Left foot forward. We can do this. Up to kneeling. Remembering the feet position, taking the left hand to the small of the back, right hand above the left knee. Inhale, lift, exhale, twist. The most important part of this posture. I know I keep saying it, but people get too caught up in the fancy looking things. They forget about the foundation. So don't forget this. This is the most important part. Big inhale. And then as you exhale, let's see if we can hook. I haven't done this posture for a while, I'm telling you now. See if we can hook that right shoulder over the left leg. Hands in prayer. Gotta get that right shoulder over the leg. So if it's pinging off, stay in the twist. Work the twist. Work it a bit longer and you'll be there. Alright, so if you're going for this bind, you need to roll the right shoulder almost forward. Wrap the elbow under. Left arm up, back, bind. Simple. Right, and try and breathe as well. Okay, staying here or looking down. This is the hard part, I think. If you're looking down, see if you can straighten the right leg, drop the heel in so the sole of the right foot's on the floor. And then if you're staying in this bind, look up. Now if you're going for the standing posture, you need to look down first before you step the right foot forward. See it? Oh no. No. There we go, because I'm hopping on camera for you. Sorry about, I probably put you off there. Stand up, straighten the leg, look over the shoulder. Some hopping there. I was talking about how hopping's fine and then I went and done it. We're hoppers. Right, play around with it. Have fun. And then stop. Stop doing it, come down onto the floor. That was fun, alright. So, that is, I don't know if the name of it is reverse bird of paradise, but that's what I call it anyway, because it's there are actually two Ashtanga postures called Parsvakonasana and Pararita Parsvakonasana. They're a family. We just put a bind in and stood up from them, which aren't in the Ashtanga sequence. So very similar, very different. One's a big twist, both big hip openers, very challenging balances, a lot going on, but that's a couple of things you can work on at home. They make great party tricks. Like I demonstrated, you can hop around as much as you like. It's all part of the process. So we are just going to lie down and have a rest now, mostly because I just need to lie down and have a moment. Alright, just find a comfortable lying position. Above all, these postures are fun, you know. These aren't postures that we put in sequences. They're not postures we put in like a regular yoga class. These are the fancy postures. You actually don't tend to see them all that often in a yoga class. But every now and then they're kind of fun to come back to. There's a bunch of balances which are more fundamental than this one. This one's just a little bit fancy. So having a bit of time to let your breath come back to normal. Taking your attention around the body, making any small movements that may feel good. So for me it's ankles, sometimes imbalances get a little bit sore, so maybe wiggling your ankles. It has been like a hot minute since I've done that last posture. Alright, lovely. And then you are more than welcome to stay here if you want a couple more minutes. Take that time for yourself. Otherwise, you can gently come out of the posture, taking another cat stretch, hugging your knees into the chest and making circles, and then eventually popping yourself up to seated, and then coming into your seated position. All right, we're done. All right. So yeah, kind of really sort of like fancy postures today. Like I said, really don't tend to see them in like an everyday yoga class, but I think it's kind of fun to look at things like that every now and then, because why not? And they make good party tricks, but I do not recommend doing them if you are drunk. I have tried to do drunk yoga postures a couple of times in the past. Never ends well, never ends well. All right, well, I hope you have a lovely rest of your day. As long as lockdown's on, I'll be here every Wednesday, and I may see you on Saturday as well if you join in for the lift off yoga via Zoom. All right, I'm off. See you later.